This is the Amtrak Lakeshore Limited, connecting two of the Northeast's biggest cities, New York and Boston, to the windy city, Chicago. Come along with me on this 22-hour rail odyssey between Boston and Chicago. And no folks, you won't see any luxurious sleeping car or fancy meal in a dining car. On this journey, I will travel on the least covered class by YouTubers, the coach accommodation. But you will see in this video that it can be better than you think and totally worth it. In this video you will see some beautiful New England landscape, some dope Amtrak shunting, microwave food from the cafe car, a comfy night, and the beautiful landscape of Ohio and maybe Indiana. So sit back and relax this ride on the Amtrak Lakeshore Limited. Our journey starts in the beautiful Boston South Station, which is the northern end of the Northeast Corridor. South Station building was inaugurated in 1899 during a time when train travel was considered cool in North America. It used to have one of the biggest train sheds ever, which was demolished back in 1930. Now the only nice part about South Station is the front building. The rest of the station reminds me a lot of the old Penn Station in New York, which was rebuilt in the 70s with the office and a parking lot above the train station. An idea we thought was really great back then, but no. However, there is a massive revamping project around South Station, and it has been under construction for years. So if you are going to Boston in the future, the station should, in theory, be more open and enjoyable. Apart from this, you will find some shop in the station. Since I will be traveling in coach for the next 22 hours, I prefer to stock up some food and drinks. Yes folks, I will be traveling in coach today. The sleeping car was just overpriced for a 22-hour journey. The price for a roommate was above $800 and I just couldn't afford it. To be fair, I've done several long-distance journeys with Amtrak in coach and I've always had a wonderful time for the price I paid. I rode the Coast Starlight and the Crescent in coach. You can watch this video on the Amtrak long distance playlist. In both cases, I slept very well and almost better than my times in a roommate. So I'm quite excited for the Lakeshore Limited. The Lakeshore Limited used to be operated by the mighty New York Central Railroad until 1956. Once Amtrak took over the operation of most passenger service in the United States, Amtrak retained the Lakeshore and initially ran the train only between Chicago and New York. Amtrak only started to operate in the Lakeshore Limited in its current formation in 1975. Indeed, the Lakeshore Limited is one of the rare Amtrak long-distance service along with the Empire Builder to be split and serve two different destinations. You can take the Lakeshore Limited from New York to Chicago or from Boston to Chicago. Both trains will meet later in Albany, New York, and be connected together to form only one train. A scheduled departure from Boston is at 12:50, and surprisingly they only allowed passengers to board 20 minutes ahead of departure. I've seen earlier boarding with Amtrak, especially for such a small train. The Boston section of the Lakeshore is the smallest, comprising only 2 coach cars, 1 cafe car, and 1 sleeping car. The New York section, however, is longer, with 3 coach cars, a true dining car, not a cafe car, 2 sleeping cars, and 1 luggage car. A friendly reminder that drinks and meals are included if you're traveling with a sleeping car ticket. So folks, if you're traveling from Boston in a sleeping car, you will have to wait until after Albany, once train or both reunited, to enjoy your meal at the dining car. Keep in mind that Amtrak still haven't reintroduced the traditional dining and still offer flexible dining, but I truly hope they will soon. Our train will be hauled until Albany by a P42DC number 103 today. Nothing fancy here, just a good old Genesis engine. And let's enjoy while it lasts. The charger are right around the corner, folks. Let's board our train, shall we? As always with long-distance train east of the Mississippi, you will travel on board the good old Amfleet number 2. Despite not being a fan of the first series, the second series is way more enjoyable, probably due to the larger windows and bigger seat pitch between the seats. Speaking of window, we immediately spotted the dirty window on our side. So my friend John, who came along for me on this ride, volunteered himself to go out and clean the window. We went from 720p to 4K definition. As always with Amtrak, you will find one of the best seat pitch ever on a train. There is a little table that you can adjust to your likings, 210 volts power outlet on the side. You will find a curtain for nighttime, but the best part of the coach accommodation is the seat. Like my friend Allan Fisher liked to call them, it's a true American recliner. Large and comfortable. On the long distance fleet, the seats recline comfortably. Sleeping here is totally fine if you find a good position. But I will tell you more about it tonight. We left Boston South Station right on time at 12:50 p.m. Our ride to Chicago will take us 22 hours and 22 minutes for a total distance of 1,017 miles, which is 1,637 kilometers. The Boston section is the longest one. Traveling from New York is shorter. For example, going toward Chicago, New York passenger will leave Manhattan at 3:40 p.m. The good thing about the Lakeshore Limited is its relatively good on-time performance for a long-distance train. In 2022, according to Amtrak, the Lakeshore Limited is the second best long-distance train when it comes to on-time performance. 63% of the train were on time, the best being the Palmetto at 70%. Of course, many countries will laugh at these stats, but for North America, where freight railroads are like gangsters to a passenger train, 63% is great. And off we go west. During the first part of the afternoon, we are slowly getting out of the Boston area and running on MBTA territory on the Worcester line. This is the only Amtrak train to run on this track. We made the longest stop in Worcester at the end of the MBTA line. The station is under deep refurbishment to increase the capacity of the station. And that's a good sign, but at the moment it's quite a mess. And to be fair, we did nothing except to watch the landscape going by, and it was super relaxing. First big stop of the afternoon is Springfield, Massachusetts. This is not a smoke stop, but the train stopped there for at least 5 minutes due to the high number of passengers getting in and out. Springfield serves as the massive passenger rail hub in the region, with Amtrak service on the Hartford Line, Vermonter, Lakeshore Limited, and also some Northeast Regional trains serving Springfield. And right after Springfield, we're crossing the mighty Connecticut River. The rest of the afternoon was pretty chill. We briefly stopped in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and our train once again crossed some very wild part of the US. And this is definitely the best part about traveling with Amtrak. The train will take you to the wild place. All you have to do is relaxing and enjoy the scenery going by. And now it's time for one of the best things to do on a long train journey, as we like to call it in France, apéro, or just drinking some booze before our dinner tonight. I went for some IPAs beers from the cafe car, and my friend John went for this classic cocktail, vodka and Diet Coke, an all-time classic. We went for 1, 2, 3 rounds before our arrival in Albany Rensselaer station. As explained earlier, our train will be reunited with train number 49, Lakeshore Limited, New York to Chicago. Our train, the 449, Boston to Chicago, always arrives first at 6:10 p.m. Then another P42 DC is attached to the consist, and then the train 49 arrives from New York, gets its engine removed, and then the 449 Boston section, and then back up to couple with the New York section to form a unique train with final destination Chicago. We arrived a bit earlier in Albany at 6:10 p.m. and as soon as I set foot on the platform, I saw the beauty that will hold our train tonight. The second P42 added is a special heritage unit for Amtrak 50th anniversary, the P42-108. P42-108 is in its Phase 6 livery scheme. And I'm usually lucky when I ride Amtrak train long distance. I usually have a special livery in it, such as the 156 or the 160 on the Southwest shift. And there she comes, the New York section, arriving with a delay of 10 minutes.
Welcome to Amtrak's Albany station. Amtrak personnel are located throughout the station to assist you. Please check with the ticket office for baggage assistance or for special service needs. Amtrak ticketing kiosks of the ticket.
The crew of the Albany is detaching the P32 from the New York section. Amtrak can't use regular P42 out of New York since their diesel engine is banned in the tunnel of New York. The P32s use a third rail pickup tube to get its power. And if you want to know more about the subject, I invite you to watch my video on the Amtrak Empire service between New York and Albany. And there she goes. Have a good night, P32. Now the two engines, the 108 and 103, are pulling up from Albany with the Boston section, and then back up on the New York section. All good, ready to go. And it was a very fun operation to watch if you're interested in trains. A shunting action is something quite rare within the Amtrak network. You can see some similar action in San Antonio, Texas on the Texas Eagle, or in Spokane, Washington on the Empire Builder. but the shunting action is during nighttime. The lakeshore has one of the rare shunting at a decent time, and of course if you don't care about the train, you can walk around in Albany. Feel free to do so, just try to be back on time for the departure of the train at 7:05 p.m. We left with a delay of 8 minutes. Nothing serious within Amtrak standards. Have you ever been on an Amtrak train before? Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comment below. Right after Albany, we went back on our spot in a cafe car and had our dinner. I went for the mac and cheese, a pop, and some Rice Krispie treats. It's not the healthiest dinner I've ever had, but oh well, don't expect some 5-star food from the cafe car, but at least it has the credit to be rather cheap. I paid $12.50 plus $2.50 for tips. Don't forget that you're on the train, not at your local Walmart. We went to sleep after Utica, New York, right after 9 p.m. On coach, the light goes off after 10 p.m. In this case, they've dimmed the light after Syracuse, New York. Pro tip if this is your first time on coach, always bring a hoodie, something to create a pillow. I usually use another hoodie, a sleeping mask, some earplugs, and a noise cancelling headset. And basically you will be off for a good night. And exactly like my other experience, I slept like a baby until the next morning. Only woke up briefly in Cleveland, Ohio, since many people were boarding. I woke up at 8:30 a.m. just before Elkhart in the state of Indiana, and as you can see with the New York Central Railroad Museum, so yeah, I slept pretty much hard. Luckily, my travel buddy John woke up earlier this night to capture the sunrise in the gorgeous state of Indiana or Ohio, I'm not sure. Our train is currently following the famous water-over route of the New York Central. Instead of going through the Appalachian between New York and Chicago, New York Central took a long way around by following the rivers and the Great Lakes. This allowed the New York Central to run fast and heavy train due to the low gradient along the route. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying this content. That's the best way to help the channel. And if you want to help even more with some extra content, you can check out my Patreon page, link in the description. Oh, and also I have another YouTube channel about my model train in N-scale if you're curious. It is called Mini Track by Simply Highway. This is South Bend, Indiana, and man, what's going on in there? That's just a lot of people. We later understood that there was a college football game hosted at Notre Dame University the day before. When I saw how busy can be a train that comes only once a day here, that's a clear sign that this country deserves better public transportation. After South Bend, the Lakeshore Limited is running alongside the South Shore Line, one of the most unique commuter operations in North America. Definitely on the bucket list, but every time I'm planning a trip on the South Shore Line, something gets in the way and cancels my train. Let's review more of our train, shall we? This is the beautiful unused dining car. For now, it is used as a common area for sleeping car passengers. I really hope Amtrak will reintroduce traditional dining on the lakeshore like they did on the Silver Meteor. Sleeping car passengers deserve better for the price of the ticket. Speaking of sleeping car, I wasn't able to access it since I wasn't holding a sleeping car ticket, but if you are curious to see what it's like to travel on a sleeping car on the East Coast, I invite you to watch my video on the Silver Meteor between New York and Miami, or on the Cardinal between Chicago and Washington DC. Welcome to the coach section. The New York section seems to be more crowded than the Boston one, so if you want some quietness, Boston might be a better bet. And this is the cafe car where we were last night, accessible to every passenger on the train. And now comes the toilet time. And after running 20 hours non-stop, the toilets are still in okay condition, clean and fully functional. Good job there, Amtrak. Near Chesterton, we can see the junction with all the Amtrak Michigan service. The Wolverine, Pear Market, and Blue Water train are using this line up north to the state of Michigan. And this is the fantastic city of Gary, Indiana. Not the fanciest city to visit, to be fair, in the US, but it's something. Nice one, Gary. Before arriving in Chicago, let's talk a bit about the price. I paid $185 2 weeks before departure for this journey between Boston and Chicago. And honestly, this is a good price. $185 for a 22-hour journey. Traveling in coach with Amtrak is usually a good deal. It's not the most comfortable, but it will get you there. And to my great surprise, we had a bet with my friend John. I was positive we wouldn't be on time, and we arrived in Chicago not on time, but with an advance of 38 minutes. You hear a lot about Amtrak getting late and yada yada, but we never hear when Amtrak arrived earlier. So thumbs up for the Amtrak. Upon arrival in Chicago, don't miss the massive Amtrak Yard. You will find loads of cool stuff, and of course, if you're not a train nerd, it's just a bunch of Amtrak engine and cars sitting around the yard. But you know, for train people like us, it's like a candy store. Chicago serves as the central hub for Amtrak for all of its operation. The yard is impressive, and if you have some time to kill in Chicago, go for walks on the Roosevelt Road Bridge. It's just 10 minutes away from Union Station. All in all, the Lakeshore Limited is very, very enjoyable. It's not the most scenic one, but enjoyable and useful. The schedule, especially between New York and Chicago, makes a lot of sense. Leaving in the afternoon in New York, fall asleep, and wake up a few miles east of Chicago. I'm also very glad to have chosen the Boston section, since it brought me to places I've never been in the past in my life. So thanks for watching, folks. Like and comment the video if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to not miss any new video every week. This was Thibaut for Simply Highway. Have a wonderful day.